All right, so I have a full detailed plot leak. At least this is what I'm assuming it's from Reddit regarding the Thunderbolts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything from the trailers and the TV spots into this and pretty much what I think is the part. So let's get into it without further ado. Let's get started. Plot. Everyone on the team but Bucky and Red Guardian are tasked with getting rid of loose ends for Valentina's Ox connections as Congress is attempting to impeach her for corruption and a slurry of other charges related to Ox Corp. This leads them all to an Ox base in the middle of the desert, which is like a mile underground. So we know that she was working with Ox or like against Ox. We knew that she was having them work on Bob for her, and that was like one of the original things. Bucky is a congressman trying to help in the impeachment investigation by talking to Val's assistant, Mel. RG, Red Guardian, owns a limo service and sneaks his way into driving Valentina, which helps him discover Yelena is in trouble. So that's how he finds out. She mentioned something about trying to themselves, I think. Taskmaster is almost immediately killed via headshot by Ava, aka Ghost, and they then figure out they were sent there to be cut as some of Val's remaining loose ends. The fight stunts are epic and Bob pops out from behind a crate. Heidi Moneymaker is definitely making money off this one. Now, we know that part, that's where Bob falls on. He's like, whoa, I'm Bob. And we do know that Ava shooting Taskmaster in the face is the scene where it shows her helmet pop back and she like pulls the gun, but it cuts out before that part happens. As in the fight, we know they're all sent in there as well, too, by Val. It's Taskmaster, Ghost, John Walker, and Yelena, and they all appear in the same room and they're all fighting each other. To which then they obviously all realize, hey, we're not all, we're kind of alike. They escape the room by trusting Ava to come back for them after phasing out of the incinerator room, but then have to climb up an elevator shaft to the surface. We've seen them back to back, and Bob there too. We've also seen Ava going through the wall. Pacha and Cusco style, Bob's idea. They get to the top and Walker saves the team using a fire hose. Each member that touches Bob has dark visions of their past, brought on by the void that lives inside Bob. I believe Yelena even provided the moniker based on her own mental health battles that she discusses with Bob. Bob and Yelena are really close and they work together constantly, and they're like a brother-sister aspect in this film, I've been told. Yelena demands Bob stays behind her in order to help in their escape, and the team work together to escape the compound as agents come to finish the job, non-lethally. As Val just discovers, a Sentry candidate survived the test, aka Bob, and wants the subject unharmed. Now the coolest part is that means they were doing multiple different people for the Sentry formula, which is awesome, or the Sentry program. And it's also cool that we know that, all those soldiers are coming after them, which we've seen. Ava phases out to go find a ride. Yelena tries to blind everyone using night vision by turning on all the lights, but it doesn't work, so Walker and Yelena fight the guards sent to get the Sentry candidate, all while Bob is tied to Yelena via the same fire hose they used to get out of the elevator. That sounds pretty funny. It reminds me of like Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails when they go through the portal like, hi, blah, and he has to like turn for Sonic. The team escape in guard attire to the exterior and are picked up by Ava. Their vehicle gets stopped by security just as they're about to leave, and Bob escapes out the back of the APV and begins shooting in the air as a distraction. The team in the truck escape. Bob is shot at, reveals his powers, and then shoots off into the sky, only to crash down into a crater nearby, knocking the escape vehicle down a cliff with the blast wave. I'm assuming that's where he's staying there and he's like taking all the bolts in his gown and whatnot, but like that's kind of funny. He's going up and then he comes crashing back down and knocks their truck over. Yelena, having connected with Bob and his mental health issues, wants the three of them, Walker, Ghost, Yelena, to rescue Bob. Red Guardian and his limo are seen driving towards them and shows up honking his horn all the way, trying to warn Yelena that Val is trying to off her, albeit a little bit. They ride in the limo out east, but are seen followed by a convoy. Ooh, it's gonna be Bucky. Bucky saves them from the convoy, but then captures the team. The team discusses Bob, and Bucky receives a tip from Mel that Bob is a threat, and he needs to get whoever he can to stop him, as he's unstable and OP, overpowered. Meanwhile, Val introduces herself to Bob and tells him she believes in him and knows his potential. I'm assuming this is when she starts showing him the glass and he breaks it. He tests his powers by boiling a glass of water. Yep. He also makes Val see a dark vision from her childhood when she touches him. I'm so excited to see these like flashbacks. This alerts her to some of the darkness inside him, but she proceeds anyway because power. Costume, sample fabrics, and such are seen in the background of the makeshift room hole she talks to Bob. And that's obviously when we see the different hairstyles, the different logos, and all those other things. Super exciting. Bucky and team join forces and head to New York in a box truck. They arrive at the old Avengers Tower where Val is forced to set up a new lab as she destroyed everything else, trying to hide evidence from the investigation committee. They fight their way in, just to find that Val is upstairs waiting for them. That's the whole, you guys can just come up. I don't know why you guys are fighting all my guards. They talk, threaten Val, and are introduced to a wonderfully suited Sentry who whoops their butts. I'm so excited for that scene. I hear the scene's amazing. I wish the segment was longer as it's so good. The team flees and Sentry questions why he has to listen to Val. Oh, here comes the Void. She tries to reach his kill switch but fails and almost gets choked to death until Mel appears and pulls the trigger for her. Sentry's eyes go bloodshot and his body falls to the floor, presumably dead. Val calls for a cleanup and Mel, dude, let's go. He has a kill switch. The team fight about how they can't defeat Sentry and try to part ways, only to be brought back together by heroic acts of saving civilians from a new shadowy darkness. The Void hovers near the top of Avengers Tower and takes down people and helicopters, resulting in a falling crane debris that the team have to save people from. They try to help the bystanders to safety, but many are consumed by the Void. Yelena embraces the Void and disappears into the Void. Yelena disappearing into it, seeing the crane fall, seeing Bob above saying like, I'll show you how powerful I am. Alexei blocking that little kid from the cinder block, so much more. Yelena works to escape the dark childhood vision and find Bob, but ends up going from one-ish memory to another. She sees Bob in reflections and finally finds a way to him in seemingly not so bad memory. It turns out it's a memory from Bob's screwed up childhood, and Yelena and the audience feel for Bob. The rest of the team arrives in the dark vision void to save Yelena and Bob. They then attempt to escape by heading to the worst memory in the void and face the suited chicken. I'm so excited for that scene. Along the way, Bob blames the memory on his past use of, I'm surprised Marvel said it. They find the memory when Bob's Sentry testing began and face off against the Void together. The Void gets the upper hand, but the team cheer Bob on. Bob then goes a little crazy, steering into the darkness, and you see the Void taking him over. The team then fight to pull Bob off the Void to keep him from turning into all Void, which is obviously you see when he's fighting in that hospital gown and you show it where it's like punching and whatnot. I gotta find that TV spot. The team escapes the Void real with Bob, and he remembers none of it and makes a comment about the mess left in the wake. The team then try to chase down Val, only to be tricked into walking straight into a press conference where she introduces the team as the new Avengers, like I said. Which Val claims she's been working on in secret. Yelena whispers, "We own you now," to Val, and the movie ends with the team accepting the title. The New Avengers is their name now, not the Thunderbolts, for those that told you guys months back. There's a lot more emotional dialogue and connections between characters that I'll leave out. They make the movie worth watching. Very relatable, dark, and impactful. Go see it. Mid-credit scene. Red Guardian is on the cereal aisle, presumably waiting for people to walk down it. He grabs a box of Wheaties off the shelf and tries to get a lady to take it while posing next to the image of the New Avengers on the box. She takes the box, walks away, and sets it down at the end of the aisle before hurrying off. Gonna love it. He's gonna be so disappointed. Now, this is the important one. End credits. 14 months later, the team is in their new headquarters and mentions Sam is suing the team for trademark infringement. Hopefully he's building his own team. Red Guardian has some pit crew looking sweatshirt on that he has New Avengers with a Z on as an idea on how to dismiss the lawsuit. Yelena mentions space anomalies and an ongoing space crisis. Someone asks Bob what powers he's going to use, and he mentions that Sentry can't come out to play without risking the Void coming out as well. And I love that they're doing him so well. Bob then says he did the dishes, though. The team is then alerted to an incoming vessel object from space. They then pull up footage on a tablet, and it's the Fantastic Four rocket entering the atmosphere. Their big beep logo is on it, and I believe their theme plays for those asking how we know it's the The costuming and the wigs worn by the team in this scene are rough, in my opinion. The screen cuts to black and says, "The new Avengers and Bob will return." Rating 8 out of 10. A dark and relatable mental health story supported by excellent action, actors, good writing, and wonderful acting, especially Bob and Yelena. And I love it. Let me know what you guys think. That's obviously the plot leak, I'm assuming. As always, I'll catch y'all in the next one.